And now I'd like to give the stage to Diana Blazaitiene, the CEO of Soprano Personnel International, who will be sharing about how AI is already being used in the HR field to optimize recruitment, HR management processes, and how it can change the way companies work in the future. Diana is an entrepreneur with 15 years of experience in the human resource field. She is a founder and director of companies Soprano Personnel International and North Baltic Solutions that both provide HR services and solutions in the Scandinavian and Baltic markets, such as headhunting, digital recruitment, and outsourcing of personnel for IT and tourism sectors. With a round of virtual applause, let's invite Diana Blazaitiene on the stage with the keynote presentation. How has recruitment changed with the help of AI? Diana, welcome.
So, first of all, in artificial intelligence in recruitment processes, it's not something that is really new. And most of the times we're using some solutions that we have no idea that we are. Today, before coming here, I was confirming some working schedules for my colleagues who used Timetastic app. Now that I'm standing here on the stage, recruitment processes are going on without even my or my colleagues' involvements. So today I will be sharing how artificial intelligence with the capacity of computer to perform operations is helping to make decisions in humans. So who are we? Are we human resources or are we human robots? So in a sense, for many years, we have been doing the tasks that made us human robots. But it's time for the change. The goal of artificial intelligence should be helping humans to do their jobs better. However, when using artificial intelligence that includes machine learning, natural language processing, deep learning, neural networks, we can transform from administrative tasks to strategic HR functions. Why so and how? I will share in my next slides. What would you do if you had an extra hour? Would you save it or would you invest it? I would rather say that we should invest it. However, some people are saying, let's save it and let's work shorter. However, if we work smarter, it will help us to focus our company's growth in the other fields. So, what artificial intelligence solutions are we already using? So, we're using it for hiring and selection, video interviews, digital headhunting, recruitment marketing, and others. Learning. Micro-learning, it's on the top. One of our clients, LearnKey, they're helping companies to onboard employees and also to make learning easier and more fun. Employees' experience. I will also share how it is important as employer branding part. Because we are always talking about employer branding. However, it is most often about making employees' experience. So I'd rather even call it employee branding. Payroll and benefits. Remember the times when we had some old notebooks where we were calculating the salaries and taxes, writing everything by hand? And in the beginning, we were also not even considering how it could be automated and made into something that saves us time. But also, it does not only save the time, it allows us to avoid some errors. So like Toma mentioned before, it is really worth automizing and making robots work for us, where we can decrease the errors. Workforce scheduling. As I mentioned before, I'm not in the office, but I know where everyone in our offices are working, or if they are on days off, or they are remote working, because we're using simple apps that allows us to avoid documentation procedures and long decision making. So now, the situation after COVID times, after pandemics that we had, or we are still having, but it has changed, and the war for talents has been now bigger than ever. What happened? Some people decided that they want to be freelancers. Some people got scared of losing their jobs. And by this, they said that, well, I will not change job unless you offer me something really, really, really very good. And we know that a lot of companies are fighting, and they are offering bonuses. They are offering anything that they might to help employees stay. So every hiring manager has several dreams. For me, I would say the number one dream is increased numbers of quality candidates. Why so? Of course, the more candidates we have, the more we can choose from, or the better candidate we can find. Increase efficiency in hiring. The hiring times has increased. It is different in different countries. However, it has been increasing due to pandemics and people working remotely and having more options, in some cases not willing even to change their jobs. So also increase satisfaction of the candidates. Automation allows us to make this experience so much better. It is allowing to say hello and give the feedback to the candidate. Because for many times, our candidates, they are saying, you know, it's interesting that we have received an answer from you. And then a lot of times, people are talking to the bots on their websites, on career websites, without even realizing it's not the actual or real person talking to them. And even though in the beginning they understand that it's maybe automized and the message is coming from the bot, however, in the end, they're saying, thank you, Olivia. So, I have decided to share some example. So, this, of course, will not reveal any privacy data or so, but I will share, and I want to compare current methods that we're using and also employing artificial intelligence in several ways. So probably I'm not the only person that remembers that to find the first job. I did it in university times, and I saw on this university board, there was a printed paper. It said that the company is looking for finance director's assistant. So that was my very first job. And I remember when I started my company, we would normally post job ads into printed media, into the newspapers. It was that times, you know. So then we moved all to the media. And what happened? We started using it, and more companies, more and more people are using it. Then everyone moved to the job boards. So candidates know that they are looking for the job, they should be on LinkedIn or on the job boards, especially particular ones. So recently, we were hiring customer support managers. What happened? So we tested. Here is some of the results that we used for LinkedIn, and we got even 31 views with sponsored content. Also, we used 2 of the most popular job boards. We got almost 450 of the views, and the talents number was just 18. From LinkedIn, it was 0. So, as you can see, in total, we had 18 candidates. Out of them, it was just 1 or 2 that were fit for our position. And the position was not requiring a lot of experience, but rather good English language skills, because it is for a Norwegian company. And then we used a human robot, I would call it like that. So we have used the robot, which allowed our candidates that were not even looking for the job to apply for this position, or at least to give a try and find out how fit would they be for this position. The robot took some time, seconds, to save time for us by sorting the candidates into all fit. We needed one person, we had 36 candidates, and we spent so much less time for recruiting, or actually we spent just 5 minutes for finding the best candidates in there. So as to compare, interesting that also the number of views for this position using Jobilla's robot service, it was 488 for almost 50,000 people. So why regular recruitment needs artificial intelligence solutions? First of all, as I mentioned before, candidates are frustrated with experience. They don't get information. They are sometimes not even sure if their application has been received. Nobody gets back to them if they are not suitable. And sometimes after interviews, they are not always getting back the information from the recruiters. Technologies are outdated and not optimized for mobile devices. And here is some research done by analyzing 20,000 clicks on Jobilla's website that I was in love with. So it's almost 80% of all clicks in digital marketing are made on mobile devices. How is that so? I think it can be easily explained because, you know, if you're at work, do you Google or do you look for a job using your computer? Most likely not. Do you do it at work? Well, some people do, but I think it's most likely that we are doing it on the way to somewhere in the evening, and when we're using social media, of course. So, and another problem is that only 12% of people who are employed have an updated CV. Why would you have one? Because if you already have the job and you're not planning to find some new job, you know, why should you update your CV? It takes time. And some people, they are referring to us and they are asking, Diana, can you help me? Can you revise my resume? What can I add in there? What should I change, you know? It takes, according to Glassdoor, it takes up to 3 hours to update your resume. So it takes time. Also, recruiter-driven normal application process converts only active candidates. So some people are not even considering to change the job. And what is the biggest mistake that the companies are doing? When companies are hiring, where they post, first thing that they post on job boards. And job boards don't actually work. So we can reach more people by using artificial intelligence solutions. And when I was asking, what would you do if you could save and invest time? I meant literally the time that it takes to evaluate a candidate. I have taken some time and tested how it works. So first of all, it took about 20 to 40 minutes to evaluate if the candidate is suitable or fit for the position. Why so long? First of all, you get the resume. You see that there is some information is missing. Or you're wondering why the candidate has applied for that particular position. So then you need to contact the person. You call, the candidate maybe does not answer, then you email, and the candidate might not get the email. Let's say it goes to spam, and then you call again. Or the candidate cannot speak, so you waste time, and it takes time, you know, until you get this information finally, and you evaluate. So it's quite a long time. So if you have, like in this other scenario that I was showing you, if you have 36 candidates, so to evaluate them, if let's take an average of 30 minutes in total, it would take 12 to 18 hours. And approximately this process might take up to 2 weeks because sometimes it's impossible to reach some of the candidates. But if you have, like we had in this case, 204 candidates who have applied, in this case, Jobilla's mini tiny little robot, it saved us a lot of time by saying which candidates are fit or not fit. So it works. What I want to say that companies don't really exist. It's about people. And whenever we are investing in people using artificial intelligence, it can of course, automate some tasks. It sometimes scares people because people are saying that, we will lose job, and this is why they are not very interested in having some innovations in their work. But on the other hand, we can focus on where we are best and do our best by creating value. Instead of spending time on digging into the databases or reading the same resumes several times to find out if the candidate is fit or not fit, we can create the value by giving feedback to the candidate, by giving feedback to, for this position's hiring managers. Let's employ this. Also, the way you treat employees, they will treat your customers. And of course, if you help your employees be happy, not so tired, they will be thankful. If we help people by easing their work, so we can create more value. And as I mentioned before, it's about the employees that employer branding is. So employer branding is at its key. How to integrate artificial intelligence into your company. Listen or watch, observe where your maybe team is making most mistakes, because there you can automate the tasks. Look which tasks take longer time. Observe which solutions are there in the market, because sometimes until you don't start looking how to solve the problems, you don't know the solutions. And most of all, hear what are the wishes of your team, where you can improve. It's the first source for your company. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much for the ideas and cases that you just shared. I do have some questions that I'd like to address to you. Job interviews long time ago and till today, I'd say, used to be a fake hit till you make it festival, right? So how can you, as a human being, beat the AI? What would be your recommendations for those young specialists that has zero experience, but they want to stream for the best?
Yeah, we'll probably all have heard of the cases where, companies want young specialists who are paid low, but they would have a lot of experience. So first of all, what my advice to the young students, whoever are asking, what to do if I don't have experience? Like recently, I had one student coming to our office and she said, I want to get experience. I want to work for you for free. I want to do internship for free, I just need experience. And I was, in a sense, I was surprised with this. And I was like, okay. Because it's not very often that students are, actually saying that they are sometimes talking and not doing it. But yeah, first of all, start with little things. Start with helping someone, volunteering, do internship, and then it will lead you further on.
That's fine, but if a company actually applies the AI robots to scan your experience, and if an AI connected to the webcam can actually spot if you're lying, so how can we get hired then, No one is perfect nowadays.
Yeah, so the most important thing is don't lie.
Really?
Yeah.
Honestly, okay, but if you were mentioning few of the solutions, what do you think, what are the most needed solutions that we as employers, and for example, if there are people looking at us that they do have now issues with hiring talents, that they should apply, and what are the solutions that, well, let's not play too much with them?
So I think first of all, the solutions now, what we need actually, and I hope that there are some people who are developing the software and they will hear it out. We do need some quality, and now there are just several examples of HR management systems, that they could have artificial intelligence implemented in there, and then it would make it easier to use. For example, let's say in Lithuania, we don't have many of these apps, or at least I have found none, so they need to be found. But there are some apps that allow us not only to schedule, the work, but also to measure by analyzing our habits, our information that we have in there, to even measure burnout. So I have recently downloaded one app that I mentioned before. I loved it. It's called Timetastic. So it's an app where you can make, reservations for your team. If you have some training, if they want to work remotely, if they're working in another office or traveling somewhere, or if they're having like maternity leave or anything, or vacation. But the system is analyzing that this particular person hasn't had vacation. So burnout level in the report is shown as high risk,
That's a very static approach, I'd say. And since I come from the startup world, I work with acceleration programs. We had an HR acceleration last year, if I'm correct, in the beginning of the year. And I do remember some of the solutions that were actually tackling this very big issue, burnout, emotional down state. And you know what they did? They were analyzing more of the soft things. For example, how is a person willing to participate in the discussions with the colleagues? Do he respond? How long does he read the emails?
Yeah.
And I do believe there are so many small triggers that could actually give us a hint that something is wrong in the company, right?
Actually, there is already some technologies that are analyzing even some keywords or words used in email communication in the office, work email communication. Also, when employees are talking by phone, they're mentioning some words that are triggering. So, in a sense, it is how you will use it, but maybe we don't have it that well developed as to, use it in every company. And for a lot of times, it's companies who are also thinking that it's very expensive, So there are some simple solutions which can be maybe joined together. And to have it like for approachable or accessible for even small companies.
I cannot stop thinking about the thin line where the staff or the worker specialists are or should be able to keep their personality or their personal space. What do you think in this situation? We can apply technology everywhere, right? We can monitor the staff, we can analyze everything, because you say at the point when you enter the office, it's no longer your private space, right?
Yeah.
But your own personal perspective, how should the companies actually look at this? We do understand that everyone seeks for to optimize, to make your staff as effective as possible. But where is the thin line where you should just, Jesus Christ, just stop here? A person can have a bad mood. He can come to the work and, for example, waste half a day, and you should just leave him alone because that's a human thing to do.
Well, I think one point is that it depends on who and for which purposes they are using this data, On the other hand, yes, everyone can have bad days, It's like normal. We are human, after all. But I think the system can allow to track if it is increasing these bad days, If the person feels bad at work, or is it something, and we can use the data to find out how we can help the person. So now the companies are having problems not only to attract people, but to retain them, to keep them in the company.
A fridge full of the beer, free beer, no longer works?
No.
Jesus
iPhones
Christ.
are thrown everywhere
what's
in the
new
corners.
thing? What's the new thing? Like PlayStation at the office? No, we already have it. Big screens, free gym, days off. Anything else I missed?
I wish there would be just like, one system where people would be saying that this is working best, that this works best. I personally believe that we have, first of all, as people, be responsible and work and do what we are best at. Because there are a lot of people, we had the trend. At some point, everyone was becoming managers. Then we had the generation of, I think, lawyers, and then all the rest, And people were studying something just because it was trendy. Parents told, go and study this and this, and don't study psychology because you will not survive with this. And there are a lot of people in our generation that we are doing not what we are supposed to do. And I know that there are some testing systems that allows us to find out where we are in the flow and do what we are best, In this case, we are happy. Everyone in the workplace would be happier knowing if they are doing what they are best at.
Okay, so wrapping it up, so what are the skills everyone should be actually developing? Because as you mentioned, we had different times. At this point, in some cases, we would rather say like be good at just one thing. But today, I see like HR managers are telling to the high skilled professionals, it's not enough. You
Yeah.
should also know finance, you should also know economics, and maybe some physics and chemistry would be a good thing.
Yeah.
So if we would be making a very big advice, so what skills are needed for the future jobs to be retained?
Besides the knowledge,
Staying a human being, yeah.
human, yeah. But I think there are two things that we need to be agile and we need to learn to be flexible. Because more and more we have automation, more and more we have to be, we have systems that we will be using. And for people to develop, it's, of course, for some people, it's getting out of comfort zone to use something. They are saying, this will be tracking us. But, I think the more flexible we are, the more agile we are. It will allow us to react to the changes in any market, in any situation. It is what is helping us to survive.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Diana. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Diana Blazaitiene, CEO of Soprano Personnel International. Let's move on.